Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Stupid Boxed Sets. Now, this is probably going to be the last in this series, although it depends on the level of stupidity going forward. We may pop in some, but I mean, you guys get the point, right? We have labels that issue little bits of a legacy, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, out comes a big box with all the same stuff you already bought, which is really, really irritating. It makes a lot more sense, I think, and some of you have pointed this out, to issue a big box with everything and then issue subsets of that box, which is what happened with, for example, like the Rubinstein edition and Heifetz stuff and whatnot, although those are very sporadic and it's kind of hard to see how logical it's going to be. Possibly the worst offender so far has been Deutsche Grammophon and Claudio Arrau boxes. Oh my goodness, I've talked about so many Claudio Arrau boxes, and they started slender by composer or by area or geography, and then they got bigger and bigger, and they got cube-like, and now there's this mega thing, which is just ridiculous and insane, and oh my God. But I wanted to conclude this series, or this phase of this series, with an observation, which is we've been talking about exclusively conductors and conductor boxes because, it's just what we have the most fun talking about as often as not. But it could happen just as easily with soloists, like, for example, Claudio Arrau. Here's a lovely box. This is a 12 CD Icon series. There was a series, and it's on Warner, so it was on EMI, and Warner took it over here and redid the box so they could have their logo, which was, of course, an operation that cost them money. For some reason they did it. Anyway, why even bother? So here he is doing a lot of the stuff he's best known for. I mean, it's a wonderful box. You've got Beethoven piano concertos, and you've got piano sonatas, and you've got Brahms' first concerto, and Weber, and both Brahms concertos, of course, and Tchaikovsky, and Grieg, and Schubert solo piano music, including the Wanderer Fantasy, yay, and Chopin, and Schumann, and Debussy, and oh, what could not be wonderful? I mean, Claudio Arrau is one of the all-time greats, and here he was really in his prime. These recordings were made in the, like 40s and 50s and 60s and whatnot before he jumped ship and went to Philips. Of course, he was pretty great there, too. And there's a big Claudio Arrau box, which seems to have vanished. I mean, are we surprised at that? No, of course not. Maybe they'll bring it back. Anyway, here it was, 12 discs, delightful. No sooner has this appeared, let me put that there, then this showed up. The complete Warner recordings on 24 CDs, double the CDs. Now, CDs 1 through 5 give you the 78 RPM. That's it, called the 78 RPM, revolutions per minute. The 78 RPM era. So you've got 5 discs of that. Now, none of that was in this. And then you've got number 6 through 24 is the LP era, including some earlier things. And you get some duplicates. There are 2 versions of Beethoven's 4th and 5th concerti. So one of them, they were left out of this. And, a bunch of other things here. Let me try and see what else we've got here. Is there anything else that really matters that's not in here? Aside from those Beethoven things, I'm kind of wondering, like, how they spread out the space here, because there's just more discs. So let's take a look at something here and see what they did. I'm just out of like pure perverse, demented curiosity. Let's see, Chopin. Oh, I see. No, that was all in here. Looks like most of the same things. Are we surprised? No, they reapportion them amongst the discs because they give you they give you disc timings on this one. See those timings? Look at that. See, big, juicy, wonderful, full timings with generous couplings. My goodness! But when we get to this stuff, let's see where we are. Beethoven. Oh yeah, right, sure. Piano Concerto number 4, all on one disc. So you see, there's no reason whatsoever why what took. Wait a minute. Here's the point. Why what took only 12 discs here takes 19 discs here. 19 discs. The difference is 7 discs. And the difference is they get to charge you for 7 more discs in this 24 disc set, which they probably could have squished into maybe, well, this is 12. Let's just add, let's say, half as many, 18 discs, let's say. They could have probably done the same thing. It makes it seem, and here's the sneaky part, right? It makes it seem as though there was a lot of material here that wasn't in here. But the truth is, there is not. That is not true. It's only the way they spread it out. It's I know, we've been through this a million times. We're going to keep going through it a million times, but I have to make the point. They should have just done a complete Claudio Arrau in the first place. Because it's one thing when an artist has done 5 billion things for the label, like Claudio Arrau did for DG. And you can't expect people to want to go and buy 500 discs or 300 discs or whatever in a huge box. But when a guy's only done less than 2 dozen, let's just say, 2 dozen or less, we'll set an arbitrary figure. There's no reason for doing less than the complete thing. And I think there's no reason for, just coupling it in a way that just artificially expands the number of discs that it looks like they've done. That, to me, is even worse. So here we have it. Stupid box sets, sneaky box sets. And who does that help? I don't know. Not me. I mean, I own them. I own them both. I have like 3 of those, a bunch of those. But the fact of the matter is, we really, really only needed one well done, beautifully packaged, sumptuously annotated box. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.